This is a 10-part series as part of the American Crime Story about the infamous trial of the century back in 1997 when legendary American football star O.J. Simpson was charged for the brutal murder of his ex-wife and her boyfriend. It would turn into like a year-long dramatic event capturing headlines and TV coverage all over the US for a whole year until he was, acquitted astonishingly for both charges. Here's a clip.
Yeah, what have you got?
Got two victims in Brentwood.
Brentwood? Nobody gets killed in Brentwood.
All right.
You're gonna say this case is all about race?
Yes, because it is.
Do you think he did it? She was terrified of him.
The most interesting thing about this is that they concentrate more on the events that actually took place both in the courtroom, live to the public, as well as behind closed doors so the lives of the prosecution and the defense team and members of the jury as well. And also, rather than giving an answer to sort of the bewildering question of whether OJ was guilty or not, it actually shows us the way in which the prosecutors went about trying to prove he was guilty, and then the taxes pulled off by the incredible defense team as well, trying to defend him to say that, he is actually innocent. The book itself, which this is largely based on, by Jeffrey Toobin, titled The Run of His Life, The People vs. OJ, that actually kind of sways towards more saying that he was guilty, but this has a very good balance for both teams, and then shows us a lot more about how race and police corruption became such a huge part of the whole deciding factor of the case. And also, they touched on sexism and the tough mistreatment suffered by the female prosecutor Marcia Clark, and I just feel like those elements just elevated so much more, where you feel like, oh, you've seen it all when it happened live. If you were lucky enough to be to follow it when it actually happened, you kind of feel like you know enough of the story, but actually you don't. When you watch this, there's so much more that's uncovered that's just mind-blowing. Also, when you look at the cast, I can't quite remember how much more of a perfect casting you can get on the TV series. I mean, bar O.J. Simpson, played by Cuba Gooding Jr., who there's been a bit of controversy where some people aren't quite as happy with the choice of him doing it. But I mean, you have to argue that even though he doesn't physically match, he still does enough to portray a strong enough O.J. Simpson to kind of help the story move on. But definitely ones you can't really default, like Sarah Paulson. She's just mind-blowing. Marcia Clark, absolutely amazing. Courtney B. Vance is electrifying, absolutely electrifying as the defensive lawyer, Johnny Cochran. John Travolta, David Schwimmer, David Schwimmer from Friends, Ross. Never seen them like this, so raw and just absolutely brilliant. And it doesn't even just stop there with these guys, it's just every other character in the series all throughout. No matter how small their role is, they're just as strong. The judge, the jury, the assistants to the defense and the prosecutors, the mayors, the police officers, every character in this holds their own, and it just elevates the story to become, it's very rare to see that in TV. They're normally very lazy. They cast a really good lead or a really good one or two main characters, and everyone else is kind of just watered just your basic. But this actually, they made the effort to make sure every single person across the board is solid, and it's just brilliant. Directed by Ryan Murphy, who does an incredible job with this, and in a way, what I love is how he uses the camera as well to tell story. Such a huge part of the performance, and intricate movements where he's going in and out and around the scene, cutting fast at times between characters, dialogue, and then just, of course, getting the performance as well out of the cast is just brilliant. And I mean, let's be honest, right? It would have been kind of inexcusable for them to get anything wrong in this, considering the amount of detail that's out there, and also I think everyone in this case, bar the judge, have actually all published books after the case finished. So they had so much information there. It was they couldn't really get anything wrong, and it was a real blessing to the whole series, because it's just an absolute masterpiece. They got it absolutely brilliant. Absolutely, I literally cannot recommend this any higher. And my verdict out of 10 is a solid 9. Literally, find some time to watch this if you haven't. That's all I say.
He's my friend. I don't turn my back on people.
You're turning your back on Nicole.
Who the hell signs a suicide note with a happy face?
I ain't trying to be respectful. I'm trying to win.
You want to make this a black thing? Well, I'm not black. I'm OG.